what's up? What news? What news?
President. came true. The people feel we better, oh. We were telling them we not better. The people feel we better, oh. We were telling them we not better. The people feel we better, but we're telling them we not better. The people that we better, oh. We were telling them we not better. Representing Senator, Minister, President, better suffering us today. Look at Liberia, oh. Some people, look and see Liberia, oh. Liberia suffering, Liberians. We see it, we don't do it, nothing, oh. Liberians suffering, Liberians. We see it, we don't do it, nothing, oh. Liberian people suffering, Liberians today. We see it, we don't do it, nothing, oh. Liberians, what we will do? We tired with war, we tired with destruction. We tired with trouble, Palestinian, but there's this special interest. Special interest, we are tired. We are tired. Tired. We are tired. Liberians suffering, Liberians today. We see it, we are doing nothing, oh. The people life at the end of the month, no salary, no salary, oh. Security day and no rest in the last day of people life. At the end of the month, no salary. The simple US coming from, and the simplest people get the US dollar.
Just to the market.
We just feel we better, oh.
We're telling my baby.
We're telling them,
Check it. See, love is the key. Together we can move on.
Yes.
With my one trust, united we can hold on. Of course, look for it's time to move on. There is no development that we can post on. Getting your fellow men down for reaches.
Yeah.
Passing the public, that's what I'll hear. Chase time because you want to do what you do. I'm saying, what you do. Time for my kid.
All right, welcome to the program.
United Nations send no more arms for Africa. Come on, America, send no more love to Liberia. Somebody have been seen my redemption song. Yeah, my redemption song, man.
Ooh, my redemption song. Hey, yeah, my redemption song. Ooh, my redemption song. Hey, yeah, God bless my Africa.
Oh, God bless my Africa. Profile Liberia. We're here on this special edition on Saturday. Before I take my break, we're profiling the More Than Me Foundation. Those are close, but they left something with us that will live with our children, those children that are affected. I will live with them for years. What are your thoughts? Hey, yeah.
Hey, yeah, my Africa.
God bless my Africa, God bless my Liberia. Investigation is on, eh? We want to know where they want to know the root of the private jet. We want to know what's up with the yacht. Is it a true story? We want to know. Investigation is on right now. In the next couple of months, you will hear. Yeah, just say, my friend gave it to me. for me to kill my morale. Hey, y'all, Liberia. Now we know. Now we know. Now everything they were telling us is flaws. They said they are angels. They came to escape for freedom, total freedom. Now we know. They said when they come to power the next day, the rate will come down to $100. But now we know. They said the price of rice will come down. But now we know. And let me extend my thanks and appreciation to a special, very, very special investigative team, man. I want to wish you a safe trip. Safe trip to Liberia. Safe trip to across Africa. We will know. We will know. In 3 months' time, we will know. If it was my friend that gave me that private jet, we will know. If the story of the yacht is true, we will know as well. Now we know. And we will know indeed mansions have been built. We will know the roots of that money. Now we know. Yeah, now we know. Ah, God. Now we know. You know, but at the same time, you know, let me welcome you because this is Profile Liberia, and we are profiling. I'll continue to profile this More Than Me Foundation. For me, as a humanitarian, and giving my own history, the way I went through life, the challenges I went through life, that taught me the value of human, that educated me about poverty, that educated me about opportunity and lack of opportunity, that educated me about truth and lies, that educated me about impunity. When I see these things happening, today being in the position that I am able to talk, I am able to advocate, being in the position that I am able to walk to that minister, I'm able to walk to that prime minister, I am able to write a letter to a president. I'm not going to sit there and allow wickedness to continue happening without me talking. Even if you don't act according to what I am preaching, if you don't act according to what I'm asking for, if you don't act towards it, to change your attitude, we keep talking. I know one day it will come to pass. But I'm telling you, even the issue of More Than Me that we're coming to talk about, these people, they left their land. This woman left her land, the United States of America, a country that even an American citizen will not put an NGO together to work in a community without the knowledge of the government. I'm telling you the truth. That even a born American citizen, somebody who consider themselves that I am the more proper American than the other people, to form an NGO in the United States of America, and you begin to work, you begin to collect money without the knowledge of the government, you lie. You can't do it. You can't. No way. Especially when you are attached to it. That I am working with vulnerable people. I am working for vulnerable people. You, the main leader of that organization, the entire board members, everyone that is mentioned on that documentation will have to provide a CRB church criminal record check. You have to check your background. I know it happened there because that's the same thing here. I remember many years ago in 2010 when I formed this organization, the Wales Liberia Connect, and I engaged people where I say, oh, I want you to serve on the board or so. Stop calling me. By the time we reach to the point that we have to register with the organization called the Charity Commission that is responsible to keep eye on every small and bigger NGOs in the UK. They requested for each and every one of us identity. You have to take it. You have to photocopy your passport and send it. That is how it's done. The Modern Me Foundation, this woman, maybe because she's an American, pure American you're talking about. I don't want to sound racist, white American. She left from here, she said, yes, I've seen and witnessed the war that ravaged the country for 14 years. And the recovery period is so difficult. The recovery is taking longer than expected. And I have seen the challenges, but the challenges are quite huge in terms of giving young women, young girls, opportunity to start life. And she decided to go to Liberia. There's no other country. That was brilliant. Given the relationship between Liberia, the historic relationship between Liberia and the United States of America, that was great. Going with the intention, I'm going to help. I'm going to give some young children, young girls, a second chance in life, opportunity. Some opportunity that some of them never even dreamt of going back to sit in a classroom. At the age of 10, imagine, man, the horrific stories. 10, 11, and the child is having active sex. Damage for life. And so for me, when I heard from in the news that an organization is on the ground in Liberia to help close the gap, small like the same way we took Wales, Liberia, and Connect in Liberia, we wanted to get in and close a little bit of gap in terms of increasing awareness, raising the prevention of HIV and AIDS and sexually transmitted diseases. It was welcomed by the National AIDS Control Program. Everybody that I met, that's a good idea, that's a good idea. So that's the same old thing with the Modern Me. But when I went there, I was asked, have you registered? Probably it will be good for you to register the organization, have a branch here, and so you can have a team on the ground that will actually make your work to go good, and you'll be monitored as well. Because despite the fact we were going to be working with young people, maybe from the age of 14, 15, 16, they are still in a bracket that they are considered as vulnerable. So when you are going to work with these people, obviously the system must know. And that's why they asked that we should register. And we did. So what is the difference between an American citizen and a Liberian citizen that's also going on the ground to establish an NGO to help his community? And I was asked that I have to register. I was advised that I have to register. More than me went there. Or maybe I didn't have millions in the account. And I couldn't give anything to anybody. Besides the day we went to register and we have to pay this, pay that, pay this, pay that for signature fees. More than me went on the ground, they just give them the green light to do. More than me went on the ground and they just gave her the building. The building being here is not being used and what's it. Without even asking who got the building, nothing. No question. Irrespective that the building has been there, ravaged by the war, and the owners have not gone on the ground to revert the building. It's still owned by people. You can't take it away like that. And the woman just told what her name, Katie Miller, say that building is repairable, and we don't know who the owner is, perhaps, or what she said. You can renovate it and have it and use it for the school. That's how Katie acquired that building. There was no process of registration. There was no question as to what you will be doing. Besides, I'm building an academy and I want to give opportunity to the young women of West Point, the young children of West Point, girls, an opportunity for them to sit down in the classroom. We'll also be providing medical attention to them, medical to them. There was no other question to ask. These are vulnerable children. First of all, they are in the vulnerable community. And you are taking them from that vulnerable community to bring them somewhere that you want to cleanse them up and then put them somewhere to begin life. And then you go in the community of that nature, knowing fully well that in your own country, that you will never ever start an organization like that without the knowledge of the system. But in Liberia, you went boom and they just gave her the go ahead. But like Ellen Johnson said, big time. She made a big mistake at that time as well. So the souls of those children that died, the agony that the ones that are living with some kind of a disease that has been attached to the Modern Me Foundation. Madam Ellen Johnson said, do owe these children and their family people an apology as well. But you betrayed them. You betrayed them. Yes, Modern Me Foundation, by the time Katie met the world's richest people, Ford Foundation. The Forbes, when you engage with Forbes, and even 2% accept your invitation to come at your fundraising dinner, you're bound to get huge money. Forbes, all of them in Forbes, and not small people. That we're talking about money. Only 2-3 people, when they come to your event, fundraising event for a cause, forget it. They're not living there with just sitting there and watching the show. No. They're giving you a life check. That fundraising event that day, nearly $1 million. The taxpayer money of the United States of America, they contributed $800,000. And our people were only interested in the money that this woman took to Liberia. And the woman just threw hands over the renovate that building, take it, use it for the school. Come on, man. That's somebody building. No background check, nothing. Come. All of the executive members, they are all Americans sitting down in America. They are all board members. I can run an organization like that. An NGO that working on the ground. So the past government did blunder as well. Very, very big time. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf must take the blame as well. Must apologize to the family of those children. Today, Katie Miller and her organization, they are no more, according to what we're hearing. I'm going to share the letter with you. But what they left with us, as people of Liberia, what they left with those children, their parents, they will stick with them for the rest of their lives. And I don't think it should be that way. And so we will go back and watch this documentary. How we got here. Yes, they have closed their doors. Effective tomorrow, June 30th. That's why if you go on their website now, they're no longer there. The website is down. By the time the letter came, somebody wired me the letter. I couldn't believe it. I tried to contact the people who made the ProPublica documentary that actually brought this whole thing to light, because are they being dependent on our journalists in Liberia? We're not going to hear anything. Nothing. Because the very system was hiding the whole thing. So we commend ProPublica investigative team. Had it not been that they're the one that actually blew the thing up, today we will not be talking about more and me will still be over there. Now they are gone. So I emailed them and asked them as to whether they know anything about this letter also. Why I was still waiting for their response. I decided to go on More Than Me website because I normally used to visit them. I realized the website, every page I tried to open, not available. Every page I tried to open, not available. So, and that's how people. So I just concluded. I said, "Oh, this letter is true then. More Than Me is no more in Liberia." But how did we get here? Now, if they have gone and if they have closed their doors and gone, what they left with us with our children, how are we going to manage with it? That's why I'm asking you this afternoon. I want you to get engaged. Let's share some ideas here. Let's share some thoughts. What should we do? The system failed the kids. More Than Me failed the kids. Some of them, as far as we know, according to their investigative report, the panel reported that at least one of them is HIV positive and still living. Another one died, accordingly, of HIV. Accordingly, of AIDS. But how did we get here? That's why we can go back to that documentary and watch it. But let me read a letter to you. This is More Than Me, June 26, 2019. Public statement. The board of directors of More Than Me writes to announce that we are closing down our operations as of June 30th, 2019. We have previously shared this news with appropriate ministries in Liberia. This decision has been made given severe financial pressure due to our inability to fundraise, as well as our consideration of the recommendations from the Maclean, Middleton, and independent panel reports. They are telling us in that paragraph that they are closing because they don't have sufficient money now to run the foundation, and because they are finding it difficult now to raise money through fundraising. Because when these things happen, people who actually put their whole family names on the board to be sponsoring, they are embarrassed and they will step aside. The same thing with Oxfam. What happened in Haiti? Oxfam is from the United Kingdom. When the story came out, investigation was done, and they found out that it's true. These people, these NGO workers that went there, they were abusing young women. You know, they turned the young women into prostitutes. When this story came out, a lot of us in the United Kingdom here, like me, I used to contribute £3 every month. People started withdrawing from supporting Oxfam. We said, we can be giving you our money. When you go to do charitable work, you go abuse these very people you're going to help. So we withdrawing. So in a similar case with more than me, in this first paragraph, it's not about money. To me personally, it's not about money. They got money. They got money. But many of the people that they were depending on to keep this organization alive, they withdrew. We're not giving you any more money. Okay? All right, let's go to the second paragraph. As we take this action, we sincerely apologize for the past failures of our institution. No child should ever have to endure sexual abuse, and we are profoundly sorry some of our students were victimized. We have sincerely apologized to those who were harmed, and we deeply regret their suffering. We recognize that we have an utmost responsibility to support the 11 survivors going forward. We have set aside funds for this purpose. We are working to ensure a smooth closure of our Modern Me Academy and LEAP activities for this academic year. We are also working on plans for how to utilize our limited remaining resources to further support the children of Liberia, particularly those at Modern Me Academy. We will share further information on this as it is available. We personally want to thank our dedicated staff who have shown great care and worked tirelessly on behalf of children. We are also indebted to all those who have supported Modern Me over the past decade. Lastly, we are grateful for the honor we have had to partner with Liberia in this work. Sincerely, Board of Directors, Modern Me Foundation. So they have written this communication. They are out of Liberia. Officially, they will be out by tomorrow. But what they left for us is the damage that some of these children, for the rest of their lives, they will face the wrath of it. What are your thoughts? In a report, the independent panel pointed fingers at our authorities, so meaning the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Health, the Liberia National Police, the justice system, the school system. They all failed those children. What do you think should happen now? Should Modern Me just walk away like that and forget? Even though they said they have set up the trust fund, there are a lot of children that didn't come out to even testify. Some of them were made afraid not to even speak. What? Should we force Modern Me to conduct health check for all of these children? Because one thing they never done yet though. They haven't. Since the investigation started, they haven't done it. Should we tell the Liberian government that before they go finally, they should make sure that all of those children are tested? They have to go through health checks. Should we? Yes, I think so. Should they be prosecuted? What are your thoughts? We're going to watch the documentary. As we're watching the documentary, those of you that are watching live, you can give your reasons there. Hopefully after the documentary, I'll open the lines. You can give your contribution as well. Give your 1 or 2 cents. We'll open the 2 lines, the phone line, and of course the video as well if you want to call for us to see you for panning on some of the issue. But right now, let's see the documentary Unprotected by ProPublica. We pay homage to you guys. Thank you for raising this story up. It was in the dark, but you brought it to light. And that's why from the day this thing came out, I got on it, asking questions every day until today. And most of the questions I was asking, or the way I wanted things to happen, they have gone that way. Now, what I want now is the long-term support for all of those children that are affected. All of them. Thank you. Let's watch the documentary. Okay. I don't know if I should expand them more. I think so. Maybe it's too much.
Yeah, go to school to learn better. Yeah. More than it change, many girls laugh. Because they should make our dream come true.
My name is Katie Myler, and I'm the founder of More Than Me, and we help some of the world's most vulnerable children get off the street and into school.
More Than Me started originally as a scholarship for kids in a slum in Monrovia, Liberia, and then she, in 2013, launched an all-girls academy in central Monrovia.
I live in Westport, so I'm like familiar with majority of the girl stories. One of me are the most vulnerable girls of the street. These girls who have been abused morally, sexually, physically. These are the girls that More Than Me works with.
I think that More Than Me tried and tries to do its best. These things that happen are fucking really bad and really hideous.
Our friend, but I just have to do it. He said if I'm to it, which means I will not go on a scholarship. And he said, can you bring in plenty of things that will make our life change? So I should not lose my opportunity.
It was a tight group of people who truthfully believe they're doing something amazing and good. Who truthfully believe that the institutions in Liberia are so bad that you really can't get worse. So there's nothing that they can do that they don't see as a win for those kids, including the unthinkable.
Look at an 11 years old child or 12 years old. I couldn't really imagine that they were really having sex. See what they have to live with. See how young they are for their life to have a question mark. I will say it that way.
Award goes to More Than Me Foundation.
The More Than Me Foundation from Washington, D.C. provides scholarships, uniforms, and supplies to help young girls in Liberia attend school and further their education.
Thousands of you wrote, "I am Abigail" on your face. You flash mobbed. You learned how to use Twitter for the first time. And you did this for Abigail. A little girl in Liberia who doesn't have a mom or a dad. A girl who was on the street selling herself at 11 years old because she didn't have a glass of clean water. There should be no little girl forced to work on the streets when her biggest dream is to go to school. It always seems impossible until it's done. Now let's go do it! Woo!
In 2017, ProPublica set out to learn what happened to a group of students who suffered the very kind of abuse at More Than Me that the charity was established to prevent. This film includes interviews with former students and staff, as well as More Than Me's history, in their own words, as told on social media and in promotional videos.
West Point is one of the most notorious slums in West Africa, one of the most notorious slums in the world.
She came playing with children. When she come in the community, she dance, she play. When you eating, she will go in and eat with you. Yeah, she loves people.
Katie Myler first visited Liberia shortly after college, interning with an evangelical charity.
I made friends with all these street kids, and we're drawing, donkeys in the sand, and I'm like throwing their naked children in the ocean. They don't have bathing suits. And we would spin and spin and spin, and we'd fall on the ground. And I looked at these children and I said, if you could have anything in the entire world, what would it be? And over and over and over again, these children were saying that they just wanted to go to school.
Katie and I met about 3 years ago. We were in a little coffee shop in Baltimore, kind of tried to pick her up. And then we had this sort of connection. I don't know, we were these kindred souls, these spirits.
Holden Warren was an aspiring filmmaker who met Katie Myler in the early days of More Than Me.
I got a camera and I followed Katie around. I followed her to the States, and just to try and understand why she risks so much, why she does so much. But let her tell you right now.
I have sweated and donated my eggs and stuck myself with needles, and I've gone to medical studies, and I have, my mother has looked at people at my dinner tables, all types of criticism coming from every angle. And, it just, you get there to West Point and you see the girl, and it's just everything we've been through is like a bed of roses.
Katie has this ability to do things that other people would be really scared to do. Katie's not a person that you meet and you forget. And she comes off you as somebody who's very gritty and very authentic.
My parents got divorced when I was 6 years old, and my single mother of 3, she worked the overnight shift at a Lipton tea factory making minimum wage. There was a lot of drugs and abuse in my family as well. And the way that I escaped a lot of that was I got really involved in community service.
Katie kind of forces you to like her. She's very in your face, and I think with More Than Me, it was kind of like, hey, I'm gonna put this African child in front of you, and are you gonna do something about it?
She's a preacher, she's an advocate, that's what Katie Myler is. Is she an educator? No, she's none of those things. She's never run a school or done any of that stuff.
This crazy thinks that I can love ignorance, hurt, and hate away in the way that I live day to day. I'm gonna dance the world's sadness away. Or at least I'll put a smile on your face. Oh my God! That's awesome!
More Than Me was founded in the aftermath of 14 years of conflict that tore apart Liberian society. Children were forced to fight, and rape was used as a weapon. Dede Kwekwe works to reduce violence against women, still rampant after the war.
Women were tortured, they were raped, and those ideas remain in the minds of those perpetrators at the time. Some of them were children and they have grown up and they don't take it to be a crime.
Welcome to my beautiful country, Liberia. My name is Macintosh M. Johnson. This is West Point.
Katie Myler met Macintosh Johnson a few years after the war ended, when he showed her around West Point. At that time, he organized sports for children on the beach.
When he played with the kids and they'd all gather around, he was out in the streets, he showed me where the kids were. They're sleeping under canoes. He walked me through the whole place. I met all the prostitutes. And they were all like 10, 11, 12, you know, they all kind of knew him and hung around with him.
I was not in school at that time. Yeah. Before I eat, May will use me and give me money before I eat. Yes, actually, I was taking him to be my protector because Macintosh fought war before. And most of the boys are afraid of him. So if he say, oh, don't touch your girl, he'll be afraid. So they will not come closer to me.
When Katie launched More Than Me in Liberia, Macintosh became her partner on the ground. He recruited girls for her scholarship program, sending them to private schools, and later found students for More Than Me's own school.
Macintosh was introduced to me as the Jesus of West Point, is what she used to call him. Macintosh was a bit of a point person. It was Katie and Macintosh, an American who's there to get the money and a Liberian who knows what's going on the streets. And they were that partnership.
Macintosh Johnson's house became More Than Me's home base, painted with its name. Giving out scholarships made Macintosh a powerful figure in West Point. He was seen as someone who could transform a girl's life. While Macintosh worked in West Point, Katie raised funds in the US for most of the year to pay the girls' school fees.
LA, you have helped us get here and open the doors of our first ever academy.
So I'm in Seattle, Washington. I just came here because I had a meeting with the Gates Foundation.
And we won $25,000. So I was doing everything I could to help them go to school. I was using MySpace, which was cool back in the day. And I was telling their stories, and people were wiring me money to Liberia.
More Than Me posted fundraising videos featuring the girls, but also named at least one of them as a child sex worker and showed her face.
And by the time that Abigail was 11 years old, she was a prostitute.
While visiting Liberia, Katie blogged about sleepovers with the girls and sometimes took them to parties.
She came was when she picked some the girls and carried them out, have fun time, and come back.
There were definitely things that I found concerning.
I've seen Katie show up to a pool party in Liberia at midnight with little Liberian children from West Point on a motorbike. Pool parties in Monrovia can be quite debaucherous, and so there's like no reason for a child to be there at all, especially without their parent. I think people would see things like that, things that you wouldn't really accept in any other country. I think people were suspicious of Katie.
So I just got back from Liberia. Ford Focus gave me a car. I am driving across the country to try and get 100 girls off the street and into school for the first time in Liberia.
But then you'd see her do something so breakout amazing.
We did it! Woo!
That you kind of had to support her.
Katie is a voice. Katie knows how to talk. She knows how to make her stories and get people's attention and get money. But if she really wants to be a girls' education expert, then I will advise her that she can go to school and know something about education.
Katie raised increasing sums of money through online contests and clicktivism campaigns.
I'm not even asking you for money. I'm just asking for your vote.
Give me 5 minutes to open this envelope.
Those online votes were valuable.
More Than Me Foundation.
In 2012, More Than Me competed for $1 million prize from the American Giving Awards, sponsored by JPMorgan Chase. The charity with the most Facebook votes would win on live TV.
Thank you so much for your
funds, Katie Myler set up her own school, the More Than Me Academy, in a war-damaged building that Liberia's president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, offered to her rent-free.
And this was literally the happiest day of my life. Okay.
What would be the one thing you would want from anyone that wants to do everything they can to help Liberia? Real commitment.
To expand Katie Mayer's initiative to as many communities as possible and get all those young girls in school learning to become professionals.
The fanfare of the opening day gave way to a hopeful, if chaotic, first school year. More Than Me students would be taught, in part, by international volunteers who were asked to raise $10,000 to participate.
And I don't think a lot of them were actually teachers, were actually trained teachers.
More Than Me is at an incredible stage of its own organizational development. It has come so far from when Katie's Dream started in 2009.
Michelle Spader was More Than Me's program director when the academy opened.
You own your job. There's no director, there's no manager, there's no person. You do what your heart is telling you to do for yourself, but most importantly for our students.
This really could have been the beautiful story that we hear if we had just tightened the organization up. There was an ignorance around how badly things could go if the right structures, governance weren't in place.
I think many of us carry different levels of responsibility inside of this. And, you know, I hold myself very accountable for that.
There was just a case there. I've been receiving tons of messages. There's talk of systematic sexual abuse. It has been discovered that 10 of these girls, these vulnerable girls who are attending this school, More Than Me Academy, ages 12 to 16, have complained of being repeatedly raped on the premises of the school by a man named, allegedly raped by a man named Macintosh Johnson.
Hello, Michelle.
Michelle Spader didn't go on camera, but she spoke extensively on Skype.
You're okay to talk on the record?
Yes, I am okay to talk on the record.
Okay.
I applied for the job, and when I first met Katie, you know, I was excited by the grassroots nature of what she was doing. Another theme is kind of like growing pains, right? Of like kind of taking this organization from a place where there were slumber parties and parties and anyone could be at Macintosh's house at any hour to, you know, what does opening a school and introducing policy and all this stuff. But I think the hard thing is that stuff can't happen just like overnight.
Michelle Spader recruited Iris Martor, a registered nurse with years of NGO experience, to be the first school nurse. She was later promoted to program manager.
I realized that most of the children, even though they were very young, but they were sexually active. Because a lot of them were coming to the clinic with STI, signs and symptoms of STI.
Iris first learned of sexual abuse at More Than Me when a student came to the school clinic.
I said, tell me the truth, are you having sex? She didn't want to say, but I could tell from her face that the answer was yes. I said, well, when she told me Macintosh, I just did it. I just went off. I said, how long has this been going for? It was like 2 years. 2 years. So it means she was 13. And 2 years, so it means she was like 11 when it started. I said, okay. Then I treat her all. I give her the drugs. But I was too trouble. I couldn't tell Michelle that this child is having sex and she said Macintosh is responsible.
Why?
Because that very day Macintosh just told me that he and Katie had a relationship.
Katie says their romantic relationship had ended 3 years earlier, but they remained very close.
The personal relationship there kind of created this problem where people felt like they couldn't speak up, students and staff members.
So then it was a few months actually until...
I told Michelle. Yes.
In those 5 intervening months, 2 more students were raped for the first time.
I didn't say it all the very minute I knew, because I was between this season. Will she choose the girls over her relationship, or will she choose her relationship over this girl? I could lose my job.
Michelle Spader started talking to students.
Yes, as I can say, half of the school, Macintosh Johnson will love it too.
Michelle quickly learned that McIntosh had been raping numerous More Than Me girls, potentially dozens of them.
It was terrible, but in every way. I think my immediate reaction was just like, how could this be possible? I think trying to navigate the fact that the organization hinged on him, right? Of what does this mean? This is not a teacher, or someone who's worked for the organization for 6 months. Yeah, this is someone who has been integral.
Chid Liberty is a Liberian-American entrepreneur who joined More Than Me's board.
We thought the risk was, do 100 girls go to school, or do 1,000, or do 10,000? We never really thought about, do we set up an institution that effectively rapes children?
More Than Me's board at the time consisted largely of American entrepreneurs and marketing specialists with no experience running a school.
We are bringing to you Katie Borghese, who has so many exciting projects going on.
This has been a great pleasure to bring you this new collection.
My name is Saul Garlick, and I'm the CEO of Think Impact.
I'm Skip Borghese, and I am the host for Perlier. As you probably have known, I've been here for 21 years.
The board was completely against us going to the police, and it wasn't until we got evidence from the girls that this abuse had happened on school campus, on school property. Before we had that evidence, the board chair was more like, we need to think about, how we protect the organization. We need to think about, whether this was our responsibility. And when I challenged him on that, this is what he came back to me with, was get off your effing soapbox. And that man continues to be the chair of the board.
In a letter sent to ProPublica, Skip Borghese's lawyer vehemently denies Michelle's account and says he expressed concern only for the victims.
I was shocked that no board member saw any way that anybody in our organization, except for McIntosh, was in any way responsible for what happened.
Michelle Spader reported the case to police, and in the following days, students and staff gave interviews to the authorities.
The first day of my school, went school out. Then he called me in the bathroom. Then he went and locked the door. I asked him, "Why'd you lock the door for?" Then I started shouting.
Macintosh have sex with me plenty time. I can't count it. My whole body was hurting and my vagina was hurting, and I did not see blood.
He said that if I tell my grandmother, then something will happen to me.
The same day he beat me is same day he promised to help me with food anytime I'm hungry.
He never used condom that day.
He been doing it until I got pregnant. When I told him, he said I should take it out. And I said, I don't want to die. He then say, if you don't take out the belly, he will take me from the scholarship and say he don't know me.
On June 16th, 2014, McIntosh Johnson was arrested and taken to jail. More Than Me moved most of the girls who accused him to a safe house for their own protection. The day after the arrest,
I thought that I was poor.
Katie Myler took the stage in New York.
I got a phone call, oh my God, the worst things happened. I'm so freaked out. She was that day or the following day going to speak to the Forbes 400. And you're basically giving a speech to 400 of the wealthiest people in the world about the work that you're doing.
I fixed this building up with our team, and the building is now, we now have the best school in Liberia.
She said Macintosh has raped some of the girls and it's really bad. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean it's really bad? And I think she might have said it was like a third of the girls or every girl over the age of 11 or something like that. My reaction was like, yeah, that is really just chilling.
It's not just the academics, it's the whole girl.
Obviously, I was one of the few people in the world that knew what was really going on with the organization. And, you know, Warren Buffett got down and proposed to her on one knee because he's so smitten with this beautiful story that he's just heard about these children being saved from sexual exploitation.
So how did it make you feel when Macintosh Johnson ends up arrested and accused of the rape of as many as 30 girls?
Shitty. I don't know, it was one of those things where you were like, ah, fuck, that's not surprising, all of a sudden. And all of a sudden you're like, and you remember, oh yeah, we did, we asked him about that, and you know, and it didn't, and...
In fact, long before the school was built, there were rumors about Macintosh Johnson and young girls.
And according to Katie, Macintosh's first wife accused Macintosh of sleeping with the girls. And it was the reason why she was leaving Macintosh.
Michelle Spader gave a similar account when she first reported Macintosh.
Katie said, you know, that she looked into it and talked to all the parties and that, you know, nothing was founded. But she did say to me in that moment, like, basically, like, it wouldn't surprise me.
There was one point where we did confront him. And because we had heard rumors, I believe it was from his ex-wife, that she said that he was, you know, that he was into young, small girls. And so we confronted him. We sat him down. I think I have video of it back somewhere. And we asked him about it, and he swore up and down that it wasn't true. And what could we have, you know, and I don't know, like, I didn't run the school. I was just a filmmaker, you know. There was an issue. We confronted him about it. I don't know how much more I could have done on my end.
Holden Warren would not provide the footage, saying he asked Katie Myler, but she doesn't see how it would be in her interest. In a meeting with the board at a Manhattan public relations firm, where no cameras were allowed, Katie Myler denied that she was ever cautioned about Macintosh Johnson having sexual contact with children.
So it wasn't that I was warned, as I asked his first, not his first wife, but the mother of his child, why did you end this relationship? And her comment to me was something along the lines of, like, he spends too much of his time with the children. And she mentioned something about one of the students being even at the house. I was not, something about the way she said it made me uncomfortable, but it was never explicit. I did come back to ask, do you think that Macintosh is a good man? Like, getting a character reference from her. And she said, absolutely, that Macintosh helps kids, that he's a great man. And she confirmed that he would never abuse kids.
Board members say they were never told about the rumors from years before.
If you want to know if we had any idea that that monster was doing the things that he was doing to those children, your sources are wrong. You are wrong. And if you print that, and if you imply that, you are so misguided and so misinformed, you have a major problem coming to you. We had no idea.
In her statement to police, Michelle Spader also recalled a visit she made to Macintosh Johnson's home in West Point.
When I gave my statement, I'm trying to rack my brain for, did we miss something? Right? Did I miss something? So, knocked on the door. When Macintosh did come to the door, he just had a pair of shorts on. And there, were a bunch of students who were in the room. And honestly, my first reaction was what the hell is going on in that room? I remember feeling like something is wrong here. But then Macintosh's wife and his daughter walked out behind them, and Macintosh said, "Oh, we were all just napping." And to me, looking back, their testimonies talk about multiple girls on a bed being raped, and his wife in the room and his daughter in the room. And I now fully believe that was happening at that time.
The rapes and their aftermath upended the lives of the young victims. But the crisis within More Than Me would soon be overshadowed.
An international health crisis unprecedented in modern times. Ebola. Ground Zero, Liberia.
The very week Macintosh Johnson was arrested, a new threat arrived in Monrovia and claimed its first victims. It would change the face of Liberia and More Than Me.
Half of the Ebola cases in the world are in Liberia, West Africa.
As he's placed in the ambulance, anxious eyes take notice. Watching too is Katie Myler, an American charity worker from New Jersey. This is her organization's own ambulance, bought when it was clear Liberia's healthcare system was collapsing.
The ambulance is able to carry the sick out very quickly here. In other communities, it can take up to 3-4 days before an ambulance arrives. For us, it's 30 minutes.
Instagram became the platform where I was just telling the world what was going on plainly. My Instagram page was where everybody was getting photos for world news.
We watched the horrors unfold on Katie's Instagram.
If there is a hell, this is what it was.
Time even featured her incredible work in their Person of the Year issue.
Iris Martor shared the same honor for her work going door to door to identify and help the sick. Holden Warren was hired to shoot video for More Than Me during the Ebola crisis.
And we were in the hot zone. We were in West Point. It was like Ebola everywhere, bodies. Like, what? Crazy. And they didn't care. They went in there. They were brave people. Damn it, it was beautiful. I still get goosebumps every day.
We're going to the place, the holding center of redemption. There's some children there who are orphaned and dying alone by themselves, and we're trying to make them happy. So at least they will die knowing they were loved. And maybe these things can lift up their spirits and keep them alive on earth.
I can feel it. We can take you to another hospital where they have treatment. And if you stay alive, if you can make it strong, you want a bicycle? You want a bicycle? I will buy you a bicycle.
A very shiny bicycle. What color bicycle you want? Red?
What color you want? Red? What color? Your mom and your pa, they're watching you. They're watching you from heaven. You getting me? They love you so much.
Ebola brought international attention and funding to More Than Me's work. The charity's revenue tripled to nearly $3 million, including more than $500,000 from the US government. More than a year later, the Ebola crisis was over and the charity was thriving, preparing to expand. Behind closed doors, Macintosh Johnson's trial finally began in September 2015. 10 girls testified, one by one, about the rapes, their identities hidden from the court. Michelle Spader was the case's original complainant, and before the trial, she promised a U.S. advisor to the prosecution that she would testify. But in the end, prosecutors never called her or Katie Myler to the stand. In the courtroom, the defense made much of their absence.
They were the people who accused the men of raping the girls. They abandoned the case. They did not come to court. I even planned to subpoena them. They could nowhere be found within the bailiwick of the Republic. They had all traveled gone back to the States. So it helped my case.
By the time of the trial, Michelle had left More Than Me and returned to the U.S.
How does it make you feel that your absence in the court was actually a key plank of the defense's case?
I mean, it makes me sick. To be very honest with you, Finn, I didn't even know that the trial was going on. I had the expectation that I would be a part of that. Anyone in that organization, and even in the sex crimes unit, all those people knew that I would be there in a heartbeat.
Katie Myler was in Liberia during some of the trial.
What is your understanding of why you didn't end up testifying in the case?
Yeah, I'm not like a justice. I don't know everything about the Ministry of Justice in Liberia or in the United States, but I was never asked to testify, and I didn't know that was something I should have pushed to have done.
Before the trial, prosecutors had learned that Katie was still in contact with McIntosh in prison.
They had pulled phone records, McIntosh's phone records, or somehow the sex crimes unit, and showed that there was like continuing phone calls between the two of them. And so I remember having a conversation with Katie of like, this cannot continue. But I mean, it was just really obvious throughout this whole process that like the conflict of interest there was just like too big.
Without any of the Americans testifying, it was the girls' words against McIntosh. The defense claimed they had conspired to lie about the rapes. Many jurors believed it. The jury hung 8-4, just short of McIntosh Johnson going free. More Than Me's leaders tell the story differently.
One of the biggest challenges is sexual exploitation, right? The rape rates are extraordinary, and the level of justice is, terrible. So even at More Than Me Academy, we had a rape. We had a staff member who had raped kids, and that happened in the very first year of the school. And when we found out, we threw him in jail, and he ended up dying in jail.
Saul Garlick left out important facts. The girls would never see McIntosh Johnson retried because he died in custody with AIDS.
After he was arrested, I heard rumors that he's sick.
In 2015, 2 students fell seriously ill. They had been named by classmates as rape victims, but denied it. The school had them tested, and both were HIV positive. Although nearly a quarter of More Than Me students had been identified as possible victims, the charity only tested the trial witnesses. One of them also had HIV. More Than Me says that all the students had access to free medical treatment and that HIV awareness was part of their education program.
Did the school, number one, make sure that all the girls in the school were tested, bearing in mind that Johnson had contact with a number of different people?
No.
Do you know why not?
I don't know why. They didn't test the entire student body. They didn't tell the community about McIntosh.
More Than Me board members say they were not told at the time that McIntosh had AIDS.
I had no idea because I've never seen any ounce of proof of what he died of. That is a fact. I have no idea
To this day,
what
we
he died
don't
of.
know that.
I let me be super clear. It's not my business what he died of. I have no idea.
It is not your business.
That you think it's
what
not
he
your
died
business what McIntosh Johnson died of in relation to your students who were raped?
We did
Hold on.
We tested the students, and I will say, do you not
Yeah.
realize the
Our
backgrounds of some of
obligation
these
is to
students
the
that come
girls,
from?
not to knowing McIntosh's cause of death.
It took only a quick visit to a government official and a couple of emails to confirm that McIntosh had AIDS.
The organization is at fault here. They decided to help. Maybe initially their intention was pure, but the person who you use to do the recruitment, if the person did anything wrong, you are held responsible. If Liberia were other countries where parents are highly educated and know their rights, More Than Me could be sued for their children's illness.
To me, at that point, you've done so much obvious damage that you really just need to figure out whether you just need to back up and not be the one teaching young girls. I think anywhere else in the world, everybody involved would be in some way held to account.
Including you?
Yeah.
As a board member?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
After McIntosh Johnson died, More Than Me closed the safe house. Most girls remained outside West Point, and the charity continued to pay their school fees. All but one. She was no longer in school and selling herself online to survive.
I think if I change and pay attention to More Than Me,
I will become one person that will make my family to come up. But actually, after that, after the case, I just feel discouraged because they stopped coming to me. Yeah, they didn't pay attention if I call them. No way if I go on the campus, they will not pay attention to me. Katie, she carried me far and stopped that my whole life looking what's that down. I don't understand anything about my life.
If I told you that I met one of the students and that student it basically feels that she is nobody and that she wishes that she'd never gone forward in the case because at least Johnson looked after her and now there's no one to look after her, how would that make you feel?
I mean, terrible. I mean, that means that we have failed these young women who had such strength to come forward and tell their story. But I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I don't think there's this deep sense of responsibility from the organization that, you know, you owe these girls something for what they went through. I don't believe that that's there. I think that it should be.
And Katie doesn't even want this to be mentioned. She feels that the case became an embarrassment to her prestige. You know, there are a lot of times people come from outside and they underestimate the power of Liberians. They think that we are all stupid people with little or no education, and our system is fragile and it can get away because their skin is white. That's why Katie feels. But it's not true.
Iris Martor left More Than Me in 2017, but the charity star has continued to rise.
We're live, and we're here with an incredible woman, Katie Myler, and you want to just sit down, please. Katie has started these More Than Me academies in Liberia. She's from New Jersey. She went to Liberia and decided she wanted to change the entire education system in Liberia. What?
So after Ebola, Katie got the ear of the Minister of Education.
I know that Katie played a frontline role during Ebola and wanted to do similarly for the education sector.
And so here we are looking to expand, and 500 schools would be about 20% of the education system.
We have a big dream of reaching 500 schools in the next 4 years, but we can't do this without you. We live and breathe for these children.
Chid Liberty left the board in early 2015, but continues to work in Liberia.
I believe that race plays a very important role in this story. There's no way that any serious person can look at everything that's happened with More Than Me and not at least put the racial lens on to explain how this many children could be abused, and a whole group of people who were supposed to be responsible for it just kind of were like, well, we did the good part, but like the abuse part, that wasn't us.
Katie Myler and her top board members continue to run More Than Me. The charity says that in the years since Macintosh Johnson's arrest, they have introduced rigorous child protection policies and increased staff training. The organization currently runs 19 schools and says it has some 4,000 students in its care.
The customer for More Than Me is not the children.
Our customer is the donor. And our customer has no idea what's going on with kids in Liberia, nor do they really care. What makes our customer feel good is to get a video, to get a link, to read a website, to go to a party, and to say, I support Katie Myler. Do you know Katie? Oh, I know Katie. And so as long as the beneficiary is separate from the customer, at the end of the day, what else is the customer getting but a story?
More Than Me is about the way we live our lives each day, the way we care for each other, and take the time and love with our lives. We're living for something greater than just ourselves every day, no matter where we're at.